What's up, everybody?
My name is Anthony Irvin.
You beat yourself?
Yeah, CB myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Jim Green.
Don't even need a hit of traffic light.
Okay, good.
Welcome to
One set.
What's Up, everybody? Welcome back to another brand new episode of the One Set Podcast. My name is Anthony Irvin, and this week I am running solo. Jim wasn't able to make it this week, so we are going to do a prediction for the, I guess, modern day debut, but the coming back of, or the return, actually, is a better word to say, the return of the Saturday night main event for WWE, which I had to look before starting because I wasn't even around. I was born just shy of a little over a year later, but the first Saturday night main event debuted May 11th, 1985. And another further note that I read that it was taking the late night spot on that Saturday night for Saturday Night Live. So that was pretty cool to read. And I'm not sure how long it went into, but, I know I was watching in the late 90s. Obviously, they didn't have it around then. So it must have been a very short window of time that the Saturday night main event was really around. But it's cool to see that they're bringing back small things from, the retro era of, wrestling, and bringing back little small glitches of, nostalgia from the past and everything. So from what I hear, I think if this first Saturday night main event goes well and produces pretty well, they're going to look at doing more of them on Saturday nights, which I think is pretty cool. It's again, it's another PLE to promote, but it's also the fact that they're going to be on NBC. It gives the modern public another reason to not have to subscribe to Peacock. They can watch wrestling right on national TV, and if they like it, if they like the product, they don't have to pay for it. They don't have to really do anything. They can just watch it either monthly or however long they're going to try to do it. So I think it's pretty cool that they're bringing it back, and the card scene's pretty stacked. It's nothing like too big to really be like, oh my god, this is gonna be like a monster show, but it's pretty fun. It seems pretty fun. I'll go from the bottom. We just had a match added tonight. If you were watching Monday Night Raw, that one being Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. So if you were watching Raw last week, that was the closer. Drew McIntyre took out Sami Zayn, and we found out this week that he was actually the one that took out Jey Uso as well. So Drew McIntyre getting back on live TV. He had a killer promo earlier tonight. I think he definitely deserves to be out in the open and in the spotlight with what he's been doing. He is improved since gaining that championship in the Thunderdome era, and he's just skyrocketed into another era of himself. So definitely one of the most improved wrestlers I've seen over the last couple of years, and he deserves all the stripes right now. So I would like to hope that Drew gets that win, being that, he's just coming back, and, Sammy losing doesn't necessarily hurt him in any way. He's still connected to the bloodline. He's still going to be involved with a lot of that, most likely going into the WrestleMania season. And, from what I can say, I don't really know how he'll be utilized. I don't know if he'll get stuck with somebody else from the other side of the bloodline, or if he, rides this Drew McIntyre thing out for a little while to let the actual bloodline family do their thing. Which, speaking of, I think that might be where they might go. I highly doubt this might be a one-off. I can see them doing, another run back, Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn, while keeping all the additional family members of the true bloodline families fighting it out and doing what they need to do, keeping it all family. CM Punk being out of the picture, Sami Zayn being out of the picture. Let the bloodlines, the Samoan family, true Samoan families, do what they need to do. Hopefully, going into WrestleMania season, because we got a lot that's going to be happening. We still are anticipating the return of The Rock, how he's going to be putting himself into this picture. And, there's talks of more, you know, family members being put in now that Tonga has gotten taken out of action with a I think it was a torn tricep or bicep, one whichever one. I think it was the bicep. Coming out of that War Games match, we had Jimmy Uso, Tonga, and uh, Bronson Reed, who all came out with injuries. So those matches they definitely put a lot on the line, and I think the worst of it was Bronson Reed, knowing that he basically broke one or both of his ankles. I know. I mean, if you've seen the video, it's been circling around. They at least show one of them, but I would highly probably think it was both his ankles. So it's unfortunate that it seemed like he I think he obviously was trying to anticipate the the bracing of the jump, but a man of that size, coming down at that angle, there's only so much your body can, uh handle. So, his legs just obviously gave out from under him. So, hopefully Bronson Reed will have a speedy recovery because he was on the road to becoming a main eventer himself. And, it's always a shame when you have an injury on that type of level when you're on the climb up, rather than having it when you're at the top, because you just see everything going right and you're hitting plateau after plateau, getting up there and and then an injury. Just like any other sports athlete out there. You want to try to be in the best shape, but then injuries happen, and so we hope Bronson Reed recovers pretty well. And this will most likely take him out of the WrestleMania season. So hopefully, after WrestleMania, he'll get back in and start working his way back up. Yeah. So going back to that, I would say Drew McIntyre definitely gets the win there over Sami Zayn. The Women's United States Championship match, the bracket series, we have the final four going into the Saturday night main event. We have Mitchin and Tiffany Stratton. Now, this is pretty interesting with also the other match, Bailey versus Chelsea Grin. Chelsea Grin. I'm thinking of the band Chelsea Green. Um, so there's been a whole big thing with Chelsea Green lately, and I like it. She's that one that everybody's cheering for, hoping that she gets her moment. And if she was facing Mitchin, I would put my money on Chelsea Green getting into the final two, and then it would be between Bailey and Tiffany Stratton for that. And I would probably still, probably still put my money on Bailey. But they're both reversed. So Mitchin versus Tiffany Stratton. I'm gonna obviously put Tiffany Stratton over Mitchin, and Chelsea Green and Bailey. I think that's going to be a good match. It's going to definitely have its ups and downs and good spots, but I think Bailey will pull it out, and you'll get Bailey and Tiffany Stratton duking it out. Now, the winner of that, um, Tiffany's already got the Money in the Bank, so she's got enough of what she needs right now to really do some damage, because we've already seen that she has the capability of, out of nowhere, possibly cashing in on either Liv or Nia Jax. But it obviously hasn't been cashed in yet. be on the spot that it's definitely going to happen during this WrestleMania season for sure. So I would say if it comes down to Bailey and Tiffany, I would like to think Bailey gets the United States Championship out of this. Without a doubt. And because again, I don't think Tiffany losing that match will hurt her. She still has the Money in the Bank, and she, can ultimately become world champion out of it if she doesn't win the United States Championship. So it's not much of like a too much of a big loss for her. So I think Bailey has more to lose. So I would put Bailey to win the rest of that tournament. And going into the World Heavyweight Championship match, we have now, it was originally Gunther versus Finn Balor as of last week. But again, if you were watching Raw tonight, they made it a triple threat and added Damian Priest into it. This got really interesting because now, obviously, the stipulation in a triple threat, Gunther doesn't never has to be pinned in order to lose. So and everybody in that triple threat has bad blood with everybody. Gunther has, bad blood with Damian, and now Finn more recently. Finn had, past issues with Damian, and he's now recently had, issues with Gunther. Same thing going for Damian Priest. He has the same angles, had his past stuff with Finn, and he's just been recently going back to having issues with Gunther. So everybody has their issues with each other. So it's not like there's teams or anybody going against each other. If anything, I would think Damian Priest and Gunther would have a common enemy with Finn, so they can, work together for those time beings to take out Finn and then get into, battling with each other. So that can be something that goes down during that fight. But ultimately, I I would love to see Finn Balor take the win, but I think Gunther is going to retain here somehow, some way, even though uh, the Judgment Day is banned from ringside. There's going to be some type of way that something's going to interfere, something's going to happen. Uh, but my first thought would be Finn somehow getting it, but I think Gunther is too hot right now to not, retain it. So I think Gunther ultimately gets the win out of this. Um, Liv Morgan versus Io Sky for the Women's World Championship match. This is pretty self-explanatory. I would definitely give Liv the win here. I don't see her losing anytime soon. I like Io Sky. I like how she's getting another opportunity at the belt. She's obviously won it herself earlier in the year and has shown that, she can, hold her own with the belt. But I don't think this is her time to regain the championship. I think Liv is on a roll, you know. Sorry. The my cough is getting better. So I've been going a lot longer without having a lot of coughing attacks here, guys. So thank you again for being patient with me while I'm, self-medicating and getting through this stuff. But on the contrary, with what I was just talking about, yeah, Io Sky, really, really do like her, fighting style, but I don't think this is her time. Liv Morgan is definitely keeping that belt all the way up until Mania, where we're going to get a Rhea and Liv Morgan, rematch, and I have a feeling it's going to be the reverse this time, where I think uh, Dom is eventually going to help uh, Rhea get the belt. And because I feel there's some tension in the Judgment Day with uh, Finn Balor and Dom, and that's ultimately going to break Liv and Dom out of the Judgment Day, I feel, or it's going to split them in half with everybody in the Judgment Day. And there's definitely some stuff brewing in there. I don't know how or which way. I feel there's going to be some way that Dom finds out that Liv has been cheating on him with Finn. I think that's going to be the angle that he eventually finds out. But I think he might play it cool up until that match at Mania, and that's where he gets his revenge on Liv, and he ultimately costs her the belt. So that could be a swerve that they do, because you can tell Liv and Finn are getting, a little talkative with each other. Uh, Nothing too like flirty or anything that's like suspicious, but you can tell they're having more detailed and in context talks with each other more than what they used to. So it's like they're almost talking as if those two are the main people of Judgment Day. Like they're the two higher ups of Judgment Day. So I feel they're eventually going to uh, see a way that Liv and Finn are silently, having a relationship behind Dom's back, and that's eventually ultimately going to cost her the belt at Mania. So, yeah. Until then, Liv is going to keep that belt, and Io Sky will eventually, she'll be in the Rumble. But I ultimately think Rhea is going to win the Rumble this year, and that'll be her way to get to Liv. And we could get Io Sky in the Elimination Chamber, and she could, do something there as well, because then we would have the somebody facing Nia Jax. So, that could be another one. And we'll once the Chamber comes up and the Rumble, once we get into the Mania season, guys, we're gonna be talking a lot of wrestling, and it's going to be the end of the football season. There's the Super Bowl. Hopefully, our guys are in there, but we don't want to talk too much and jinx ourselves. But I would say for sure that all our wrestling fans we had last year around the WrestleMania season, who were just coming in, probably around our live session, if you guys are still around and still enjoying our wrestling content, be ready for a lot more wrestling content coming within the next month and a half, as we get closer to the Royal Rumble and the start of the Mania season. This is going to be another fun season, and we're going to have all the predictions, storyline stuff, and we might even have some Patreon stuff we might have for you guys. Have you ever wanted to start your podcast but didn't know where to start? The One Set Bros are here to talk to you about Zencastr. Zencastr is the ultimate-based podcasting solution, and now the all-in-one podcasting platform, making podcasting easy. They've sure made it easy for us to be able to record our podcast and our episodes every week for you guys. Once you've set up your account, you're simply one click away from recording a high-quality podcast with studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. My personal favorite feature is their multi-layered backups, which ensure our recordings are always in the highest quality, even during unstable web connections. And if you thought you needed multiple tools and services for your podcast, Zencastr's all-in-one podcasting platform allows you to create your podcast all in one place and distribute to Spotify, Apple, and other major destinations. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code OneSetPod, and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences we do with all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. The main event of the night being Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. So ultimately, I think Cody Rhodes is winning this. There's no doubt in my mind that Cody is not walking out of there without the championship. Because again, like Liv, he's going to Mania with the belt. Now, whether he's going to be facing The Rock, or if The Rock eventually, calls out of Mania he can't do it this year, who his opponent will be. We could get Roman and Cody again. So we can get Roman winning the Rumble and he faces Cody. So again, we'll have to see. That could be the swerve that they do because they didn't ultimately get it last year. Or we did get it last year, but we had more sense and we won it again this year because we want to have that we definitely want to have that run back if that's the swerve if Rock is not ready. So as far as this match, it's going to be good. Kevin Owens, amazing worker. I've always been a very big fan of KO coming out of NXT, even when he came onto the main roster with the NXT belt, showing off all the NXT stuff. That was so cool that they did that for him and to actually get himself started. And I think that was the open challenges that John Cena was doing at the moment. And, Kevin Owens got the call up to, do one of the open challenges. He comes in with the NXT belt. So cool. But yeah, he's always been a really good wrestler of mine that I always enjoy watching him because he has a unique fighting style and just a guy for his size, one of those guys with his kind of build. You would never think he's so athletic and agile in the ring. So uh, I think you're definitely going to get a good hard fought match out of Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. I think you can definitely see it going within you know closer to the 25-30 minute plus minute mark, depending on how much time. I know main event starts at 8, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches total. So you're thinking 8 o'clock, and knowing that they're on national television, they might be having a time block situation, so you're not going to be getting that long. So you're probably looking at having probably maybe like an 11 o'clock end time. So you're probably thinking Kevin Owens and them going on around 10:15 ish, and after entrances and everything, they'll be good to go right before 10:30 ish, if not 10:15, 10:20, something like that. So you'll get your half hour match in there. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a good match. But ultimately, Cody Rhodes is gonna come out the victor in that, and I don't see anything else happening. We could possibly maybe see Randy. I'm not sure because it really just depends on how bad he really got hurt. So I'm not sure if they start a feud with Randy and Cody so quickly, but we know that's eventually coming too. But I think Cody will definitely, if anything, Cody will beat Kevin clean. There's nobody out there that's really going to be helping Cody right now, unless he's asking for favors on the side. But he doesn't really have that type of backup to really have anybody be like, hey, if I'm out there, I got your back. He used to have Randy, he used to have KO, but Randy being hurt, KO being against Cody now because he went back with Roman Reigns, and seems like that's the biggest thing going around with a lot of the storylines right now, because that's the same angle that Drew McIntyre is taking with him fighting Sammy. Because if you listened in his promo earlier tonight, Drew was saying that when Roman came back, who went back to him? Jimmy ultimately. Then he got Jay, he got Sammy, and they all just kind of went back to him with their tail between their legs, and the stupid ones in the air. Uh, so, and then also CM Punk, but at least he was saying, but at least Punk did it on a bribe to be like, hey, I'll do this if you're doing something for me, blah blah blah. So it's not like he just really ultimately went under Roman because he respects him. They both don't have any respect for each other at all. But he was doing it. Punk was doing it for Heyman, so he wasn't doing it for Roman. So at least Drew was saying the fact at least Punk had a reason for being out there. He wasn't doing it for Roman. But as far as Jimmy and Jay and Sammy, everything that Roman put them through, they still went back. You can argue that Jay is somewhat in the way of how CM Punk got back because, he's on the fence of saying, if you treat me like you used to with all the disrespect and everything, I'm out. So, he has that under his belt too, that he's willing to help Roman, but it's going to be different. That Jay is going to be his own self. He's not going to be just a puppet, riding around and being under Roman Reigns this time. Where Jimmy is all in with being the same character of being under Roman, doing what he says. This is what the tribal chief needs. Blah blah blah. We just got Paul Heyman back, so but I still feel Roman is questionable about Paul Heyman, just because I think there's still some things about how CM Punk's what he wants for Roman. Obviously, we're going to get that eventually. So I think since Paul Heyman has this thing over his head and Roman knows, he's very skeptical with Paul Heyman right now. So he doesn't fully trust. I don't think he fully trusts Heyman at this point. But it'll be interesting how that scenario goes too. So when it comes to Drew McIntyre and his reason for taking out Sammy, it's almost ultimately the same thing for what Kevin Owens was saying to Cody. Uh, you were facing him at WrestleMania, and everybody was up there cheering for you. We were out there, cheering for you when you won it, and blah blah blah. And Roman comes back, and what do? You are right by his side at one of the at Bad Blood, you know. So everything that guy did to you, but you're gonna fight by his side. So everything is revolving around the bloodline somehow, and how even though Roman is trying to regain his spot in the bloodline, there's still a lot of people under it saying that yeah, Roman is the OTC, but he's still Roman at the end of the day. He knows how to manipulate people. He knows how to get what he wants. So, but hey, that night that Roman lost and Cody won, I had to show a respect of to Roman, because we knew at the time it was his last match for a little while. So I was definitely one of those ones in the stands to be going like that at the end of the night for Roman. It was definitely a good match, and still now, I when Roman's coming out, I'm a OTC guy at this point, and I like how, and I'm sorry about going into a tangent off of things, but Solo and the new bloodline, how they were acting on SmackDown, I believe. Yeah, I think it was SmackDown on Friday, how they were just basically taking out anybody and everybody. I like it because, it was their first big loss. And me and Jim had them winning War Games, actually, because we felt you need to continue to keep them relevant, because they're eventually going to need that heat going into the WrestleMania season. So we were surprised when Roman and their team won at War Games. But I like how on SmackDown they just, just brutalized anybody and everybody in their way. Speaking out of anger, not really talking, but just showing out of emotion, just you know, going through the roster and just taking out anybody in their path. So I didn't get to watch the whole thing. I'm not sure if they got to actually do a little promo in the beginning or two, but I did see that they were, taking out wrestlers here and there throughout the show. So how they bounce back from this, I don't know yet, but we obviously know this is not the end of it. So uh, does this mean that that bloodline with Solo, does that mean that they have to resort to now reaching out to The Rock? Because maybe this is the time for them to start revealing that uh, it wasn't Roman that Solo was talking to after WrestleMania. It was The Rock, because that's ultimately what I think everybody thinks. Solo was lying that to Paul Heyman that he's like, oh yeah, I've been talking to Roman, when he was really talking to Rock. So I'm looking forward to, if The Rock is down for doing another Mania this year, and he's fully all in for the Bloodline storyline again, because we know he's coming back for Cody. He's obviously put in his information that he is going to be back, and he has some stuff, that he needs to lay out with him. But, uh, it'll be interesting with what he does with Roman and that team as well as Cody, because now he has like two different things he has to be worried about. So, yeah, again, Cody definitely coming out victorious, and Cody's not going to be losing anytime soon. So, as a review, we got Drew McIntyre over Sami Zayn. I have Bailey beating Chelsea, Tiffany beating Minchin, and ultimately in the championship round, I have Bailey beating Tiffany. So Bailey becoming the first women's United States champion. For the World Heavyweight Championship match, the triple threat between Gunther versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest. I think that's going to be a match to see for sure, but I feel Gunther is going to ultimately take the win here. He's going to retain somehow, some way. I think Finn is going to come very close. I would not be surprised if he does win, but I think ultimately Gunther is going to take it. It's going to be a very hard fought match. I'm looking forward to that one. Liv Morgan is going to retain her women's world championship belt against Io Sky. I don't think Liv is losing anytime soon. Io is just going to have to try to find her way to, get back at the belt either in the Rumble or the Elimination Chamber down the road. And for the main event, Cody Rhodes will be going over Kevin Owens to retain his undisputed WWE Championship belt. Now, again, shooting this on a Monday, and as this uploads on Friday, we don't know if there's going to be any other matches added to Saturday night main event. If they're going to add anything on SmackDown that's going to be added for that night. If there is, you know, we will miss that, but we'll figure it out on Saturday night or Friday night with watching SmackDown. And maybe we'll just update it if we do, and we'll update it in our little description, or we'll leave a comment with our prediction if there is another match that gets added on Friday night, the night before the main event. This is going to be a little shorter of an episode, but I wanted to update you all again that I've been going through a job change, and I'm in my third week of my new job. I really love it. It's a lot of reading, a lot of learning, a lot new techniques, and I start my training this week with I don't think I'll be getting any lab experience this week. It might start next week, but we're going to be getting on the schedule of getting into learning some things about what we're going to be doing in the labs. So I have a couple things that I got to do personally during work to get ready for that. And I'm just excited for something new. The work that I'm doing is totally different than what I was doing prior. What I was working with prior, being probiotics, and now I'm working with cancer research. I never really thought cancer research would be in my repertoire of things I would be interested in, but the way that this company's product works is very interesting. So it's a product that's not necessarily for the general use for cancer patients. It's specific for a patient, an individual patient. So each uh, product that's made, it's individualized for that patient. So again, I won't go into too many details on the pod because I don't know, uh, you know, how much to say until I get comfortable with the job. I can, at least eventually when I get in, like either an okay or no, what's good to say, what's not good to say, then I can go into a little bit further detail if anybody's interested. So yeah, this is just something that's very new to me, and being at a company for 15 years, you really get set in your ways, and I was very comfortable. And everything that's happened within the last year has really made me understand that uh, never get comfortable. Uh, Almost never get comfortable in any situation, because once you do, there's going to be so many things that slide by you that you can have so many more experiences. And when you think about it, after 15 years, you could have probably been up here by that time, but you let time slip by because you got so comfortable, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I like being in this little bubble here. Like everything's good, and nothing's really shaking up, but I feel if you're at a point where there's basically a ceiling that you've hit, but you feel it's like, at the point it didn't feel like a ceiling to me. It just felt like, okay, I'm just riding this wave. At least I have a job, I'm taking care of my family, and but I never really had any opportunities to progress in the job and make more money than what I should. So uh with this job, I'm going to be having a lot more opportunities to excel in the company, move up in the company, and make money, as of course. But just learning new techniques, and the fact that I'm working in like a biotherapeutic pharma company now, so a lot of the guidelines and prep work and everything you're doing is by the book and written to a T. So the margin for error is very small with these things because you're dealing with the FDA. And when you're dealing with the FDA, uh, the margin for error with that is very small. The margin for error for that is very small because they can just come in and audit. And, if they want to go through a random documentation, they can be like, hey, we see this was done on this day. Tell us more about that. And if you don't have the right documentations, a lot of bad stuff can happen. They can, you can get fined, you can get possibly shut down. And, so it's very important that these things are taken serious. So when you're getting trained, you have to really be understanding what you're doing and making sure that you're um, not one of those guys like, okay, once I get in, you're like, okay, what am I doing? You have to be very high put with what you're doing. So I'm looking forward to it. It's just something new, and working with new techniques, new people. Uh, I'm up for the challenge. I'm always looking to challenge myself with a lot of things. So this is going to be a new challenge for me. So it's going to be fun. I think it's going to start off slow, but as we get further into the trainings now, uh, within the next couple weeks, probably after Christmas, going into the new year, it's going to get faster and faster. So I'll be sure to keep you guys updated. A little here and little there. So, uh, but at least this year, I'm in a better mood because last year I did not have a job at this point. I was just, you know, at home trying to see or trying to find out how I can keep my family's health insurance going or get health insurance for my family and how I was going to keep money flowing in my family. But then thankfully, you know, 2 months later, my job asked me back. They gave me, a good offer to come back, and I went with that. And although I was back, I was very skeptical of how long I was going to be back, and I was still, going through the job circuit. But then in September, that's when, they told me that my job was going to be, uh, ending at the end of the year. So that's when I'm like, even though I was already in the job market and looking, I just went into rapping. But I'm like, yep, okay. So that just gives me even more uh, anticipation to be like, hey, get on that thing, start looking for it because now you have a deadline. And I'm just glad that I personally uh, met my own deadline. I wanted to be out of my current position before December, and I set out to make that a goal, and I did it. I'm just glad, everything went to plan. I was very scared for a little bit to wonder if I was going to get picked up, but thankfully, to the job that I have now, they obviously saw some potential in me, and they offered me a job. So I could definitely say this year that I'm in a way better mood because I know I have a job and my family is secure. So uh, that's you know all that's really important to me at these times of years. Make sure that I'm good, healthy, or healthier currently, and that my family's okay. You know, so with that said, I think I've rambled enough with all of that personal. But thank you all for hanging out with me again. My name is Anthony Irvin. If you guys want to subscribe to us, we are here on YouTube every Friday, 9 a.m. And make sure to subscribe here on YouTube. We're on Spotify. And if you're on Spotify, now you can leave comments on Spotify. And we have all our videos that upload to Spotify as well. So if you're a Spotify user, feel free to leave a comment on there as well and like it, share it, as well as if you're a YouTube person, like, share with everybody you know. And we have merch up on our merch booth uh, in the uh, Northeast Pennsylvania area that we're in now. We just hit the cold front. So winter is definitely upon us now. So we are in the hoodie season. So, and we have some hoodies in our merch booth. So if you are also in the area, feel free to pick up a one set hoodie, rock that throughout the coldness, and I think there's some beanies in there too. So feel free to pick up one of those. And we are still going strong with the Patreon. We'll probably be doing, if we can't do it before the end of the year, we will probably schedule another uh, exclusive watch along on our Patreon coming into next year. So, again, it is free to sign up, and while it is free, go to the link in our description. Just say join for free. All you do is put in your email, and you will be instantly put into our Patreon account. So, and you'll be updated on when we'll be doing our next exclusive Patreon watch along. So, the first one went pretty cool, and we had a lot of fun. So hopefully the next one will have a couple more things tuned in, and we'll have even more people. So yeah, guys, thank you again. We will see you on the next one. I believe the One Set Bros, will both be back next week, and we are coming down to the last couple of weeks of the year. So we only have a few more that we'll be taping, and we'll be doing a best of video soon. I don't think we're going to be able to get a Christmas episode in this year, just because, with me, with my job, and I know Jim's got a couple things that he's got to be getting done dance wise for the end of the year. So we might not be able to get a Christmas episode in, but we'll definitely be doing the best of show that we usually watch. And we could possibly be doing that also airing on Patreon too. So another good reason why to join the Patreon. You get a couple cool exclusive things that are coming up. So, yeah, guys, thank you again. We will see you on the next one. Peace.